Hello, welcome to the next video. This one is part 2 from the Jaffa cakes, but this time we're looking at non-orange flavours. So all the wonderful flavours that I could find which aren't orange. It could be interesting to see what we've got here, because obviously not all the supermarkets do different flavours, and some, in fact, only did the different flavours. So you may note that Lidl wasn't appearing in the previous one with just orange flavoured Jaffa cakes. But right here we've got a whole four different flavours for representing Lidl. So hopefully they've got some decent ones. As ever though, we'll go for a quick run through on the stats. And first up, as ever, is price. The winner here is Lidl's, each of those coming in at 39p per 100 grams. And put reference back to the orange ones, the winner there was Aldi's Essentials at 20, so coming in at nearly double the price. I guess it's the price you make for having all the different flavours rather than the on bulk orange. Worst on the other hand is McVities at 82p, and they were also the worst back on the other series, so no great change there. With energy, it is Wedel, again their raspberry flavour at least, and they're coming in at 350 calories. Strangely enough, so was their previous one in the orange round. Worst on the other hand is Marks and Spencer's raspberry one, which is 409 calories, and it was indeed M&S previously who were also topping the list there at 407 with their orange variety. For fat, it is Lidl's. Once again, they're coming in least with 6.8 grams per 100. Wedel were the previous ones back with the orange at 7, so not too different there. And on the worst, it was M&S with their raspberry once again at 13.4 grams per 100 being fat. And believe it or not, it was M&S with 13.4 in the orange ones as well, which were being the worst. When it comes to saturated fats, still Lidl leading the way there at 3.6, although it was the Shah ones at 3.3 from the orange flavour ones, which were the best there. Can you guess what I'm going to say for the worst on the saturated fats? Yes, that's right, M&S raspberry at 7.1 grams, and it was indeed the M&S that were the worst, back with the orange. For sugars though, this is where we go. M&S raspberry, congratulations, 46.4. It was previously Shah at 44 who were winning the way there. The worst though is again M&S, yep, but this time it's their peach and passion fruit flavour at 59.1. Previously it was Morrison's at 53.7, which were the worst on orange. For salt, it comes in down to the Wedel, which was the same as before as well, at 0.07 grams. And McVities are the worst in this particular series, with 0.27 grams on each of their three there, the worst being Shah previously with the orange ones at 0.53. Now, one other point to point out is the chocolate. So the one with the most chocolate percentage is the M&S ones, but the peach and passion fruit and the lemon and lime, which have 19%. Not the raspberry one, for whatever odd reason. The worst is the Lidl and the Weddle ones at 15%. So, yeah, there you go. Finally, the juice within these. The winner goes to McVities pineapple with 7% fruit. The worst, on the other hand, is the other two flavours from McVities, the passion fruit and cherry, which have none. They're just flavourings. Yeah, why? I don't know. I'd imagine they should be able to at least get a little bit of juice out of those, but clearly not. So, without much further ado, it's on to the actual tasting. Okay, first up, it's M&S with their dark chocolate lemon and lime. I'm looking forward to these, which is possibly why I put them first, but for what it's worth, I have tried to put all the similar flavoured ones next to each other, so I've got the best comparison, because obviously we've got quite a few different flavours here, as you'll soon find out. But yeah, on we go. Right, if that isn't a kick in the teeth, you know, I've been expecting, you know, a nice zingy punch and really enjoyable flavours there, but unfortunately it's let me down. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not the winning one, I doubt. Well, certainly hope not. Flavour, I'm going to say it's a 37. You know, it's nice, but it's not zingy enough for me. Yeah, 37. Flavour accuracy, well, when you get that bit of jelly to it, it's zingy, but not zingy enough. Flavoured, it's kind of lemon and limey, but not, I mean, it's not far off, but not enough of a flavour there to warrant giving high points. 13. Texture is going to be 6, a little bit dry. Not much enough sponge to give it a nice spongy flavour. Chocolate had a nice bite to it, but it wasn't a crisp one, and the amount of jelly in there to provide the jelly texture was limited. 6. Okay, next up we've got M&S again with their peach and passion fruit. Could be interesting. You know what, that's better. That really is quite a bit nicer. The passion fruit is coming through, and if you like passion fruit, it's got that quite distinctive taste. Peach is just about there and backing it up, but I guess it's a similar flavour and very much in support to the passion fruit here, rather than being an overriding flavour, because it is obviously quite a delicate flavour. Flavour, that's going to be 41. It's still not got that full wow of everything going on, but it's pretty good. Flavour accuracy, as I was saying, you definitely know that's a passion fruit in there. Peach, very much less so, but it's going to bring it up a bit to 15. I say, because of the peach being quite a delicate flavour and overridden so easily there, that's where most of the marks are being lost, because if you study it as the first flavour, you kind of want to know it's going to be there. Texture, that's a smidge better. 6.5, 7, 6.5. Yeah, 6.5. It's not quite as dry, but you still got the same issues of a very little amount of sponge and not too much jelly pushing its way through. Again, the chocolate is holding its own, but no great shakes there. Okay, third and final offering from the flavoured M&S range is the raspberry. Interestingly, we've got 3 different varieties of raspberry from the different manufacturers, so they're all up in a row here. So let's see how M&S performs with it. Well, yeah, you can tell that was a raspberry, or it's at least a raspberry flavour raspberry. You know, when I suppose there's different varieties of raspberries that you can get fresh. Some have that slight raspberry flavour versus a raspberry flavour. I don't know, I know what I mean, and I'm hoping that you understand that raspberry flavour can not taste like a natural raspberry, which in this instance is tasting of raspberry flavour. 41 again for flavour. It's pretty nice, it's got a nice zing and so on. Yeah, pretty good. Flavour accuracy will be a 15, because like I was just saying, it's a raspberry flavour rather than being raspberry in its flavour. Yeah. Okay, so texture, I was going to come up that little bit more again to 7. Again, it was that bit less dry, bit more enjoyable overall. Yep, same problems as before. Not quite enough sponge or jelly, and yeah, the chocolate's just holding its edge. Okay, so as I previously stated, we've got another raspberry up next, and this being the one from Wedel. Let's see how they handle this time. Okay, flavour's a lot more subtle. The raspberry didn't have quite a punchy zing to it like it did with the M&S. Not entirely a bad way. Possibly a little bit more to just tasting like a raspberry though, by comparison. It's a 40. The sponge isn't quite as nice a flavour, I don't think. So that's why that little one's come off there. But still worthy of 40. Flavour accuracy, yeah, I'm going to give it a 16. It's coming more along the lines of a raspberry as you'd know it. And that seems appropriate for this texture. Well, let's put the cat amongst the pigeons. There's a decent amount of jelly, but this is going to be a 6. The actual Jaffa, the actual sponge part was quite dry, and the chocolate just seemed to not have any bite to it. It just melted away really, which is a bit of a shame. And overall that all kind of combined as a not even impressive 6. Okay, so we're on to our third final of the raspberry ones, and it also sees the introduction of the Lidl set. So obviously this is Lidl's raspberry Jaffa cakes. Interestingly, coming under the name here of Polish taste. Good on them. Interesting. That's a bit different. The sponge was nice. There was quite a lot of the gelled section, but it didn't have a huge flavour to it. Where should we put you? 38. I mean, it wasn't a bad flavour, but it didn't just quite fill you with any desire to stuff a million of them down your throat in one go, which a nice, lovely tasting thing may well do. Flavour accuracy, as I say, it wasn't the outstanding flavour of, you know, you've got raspberry there, but it was raspberry, probably closer to being real raspberry than raspberry flavouring, but it was rather subtle. 15. Now texture, this could be a 7, because though the sponge part was spongy when you could have it, it also seemed to be a kind that just disappeared and had no body to it to bite in and have the spongy part, but it kind of floated around because there was enough of it that it came back and then you'd found a spongy part. It's a bit weird, but I know it's just what happened. You can try it yourself. And jelly, yeah, that had a good bit to it. Again, the chocolate was a little bit lackluster. Okay, on to our second Lidl submission, in this case a strawberry. So see how they perform. Okay, there we are. It's a bit more of a punch on the flavour. You know, you've got a bit of strength there to it. It's going to be 40, I think, for that, because it comes through that a little bit more. Flavour accuracy, it's 15, because it's definitely strawberry, but it's strawberry flavouring rather than strawberry. You know, like various sort of sweets that you can buy out there are, yeah, fairly similar in flavour, to be honest. Texture, we're going to get a 7 again. It's that sponge, it kind of disappears. It's not dry in the sense of like when you leave something out and it goes stale and hard, kind of dry. It kind of just has no moisture to it in a weird way that it takes away the moisture from you and creates it more in the spongy textureness. That was a really weird way of putting it, wasn't it? Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's a different dry to just being dry. It didn't taste dry. It did taste dry. It didn't feel dry. Okay, our next submission is the next Audi, which is Apricot. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. That might be a 41 from them. The apricot flavour is quite nice. It all balances. It's not a hit you in the face wow zing of a flavour like the orange and some of the other citruses are. But it's not a subtle flavour where you go, there's a flavour there. So it's a pretty good one, really. Not a super one, because I love my citruses. But 41 is possibly putting it down. Flavour accuracy, yep. That's going to score 19. I mean, I'd like a little bit more chocolate to it to help it out there. But in terms of accuracy of flavour, that's pretty darn good. Okay, so texture is going to be a 7 again. They're pretty consistent in that kind of dry sponge, decent amount of jelly, barely any registering on chocolate. Okay, we're on to the final one from Lidl, and this one is cherry, and we've got a second cherry one to be tasting very momentarily. Yeah, wow, that's, I think, a real beauty. The sponge is holding it back a bit, again like with the chocolates, but that's going to be a 43, I think, on flavour. The cherry, I quite like cherry flavour, and that one is certainly providing a decent rendition to it. Flavour accuracy, as I was just saying, is pretty decent. It's going to be an 18 though, just because though it's decent, part of me is thinking, is that just a fake hint that I'm getting through there? And the sponge isn't quite, the sponge is fine, but yeah, 18. Okay, texture, it's going to be 7.5. The sponge seems a little bit more moist, a little bit more to it, but it still seems to dissipate, and chocolate is non-existent really. So 7.5 is still right for that. Okay, we're on to the final set from McVities. So first up is the cherry to correspond against the little ones. I feel that McVities decided to rush through this one. The flavour of cherry was pretty much non-existent. It tasted like a chocolate cake, like missing out your Jaffa-ness. I mean, It's nice and all, but surely you just go and buy a chocolate sponge if you want that. Or a chocolate log roll, you know, they've got a crunchy chocolate on the outside, haven't they, and a sponge on the middle. In fact, they also then have that cream in the middle. This may be another taste test sometime. However, I deviate. It's going to be 30. That's just pathetic, really. Flavour accuracy. Yeah, you're going to get a 5. That was really not there. Texture. 6. The sponge was a little bit dry. You did notice some jelly in there, which had it, and the chocolate didn't really give any crunch or anything to offer. Oh well, 6 is, 6 is, yeah, me being generous, I think. Okay, next one from McVities, pineapple. I'm hoping this is going to do better. I really am. Okay, it does better. But sorry, bringing it up to 39. It's tasty, but it's still lacking so much that it should be wowing with. Man, that sucks. Flavour accuracy, yeah, it was pineapple, but it wasn't a huge overwhelming flavour. I mean, when you had the pineapple taste, it was there, but it was not fully massive up there going way pineapple Jaffa. 16 though is what we'll go for. Okay, texture will be a 7. Again, still a little bit dry. Sponge isn't still that big bouncy sponge sort of flavour that you'd want from a Jaffa cake. Man, yeah. You're missing out on a trick here. McVities, really up your game on these. They could be so much better, really could. Okay, our final one, McVities with their passion fruit flavour. Not holding out any real hopes here, judging by the cherry one, which also was the other one without any real juice to it. But we'll find out. Here goes. Yeah, like the cherry one, it's completely underwhelming in terms of expectation to reality. A little bit better. I mean, you can tell that one's got a fruity passion fruit zing. I mean, a little zing. We're not talking like big here. It's just, it's there. 32. Flavour accuracy. Well, I'm gonna say it's there. It's definitely passion fruit. Is it a ride of a time where you go, way? No. Accurate, I suppose it is, because of how subtle the flavour was. I mean, it was there, but it's not there in a full force. It's going to be 14. Okay, texture. It's going to be 6.5. There's not enough of a nice sponge to it. Jelly was there, but the chocolate again, it's not really 1.5 to looking it through there to save the day. 6.5 is it's all that it's gonna get from me. Oh well. Okay, well that was sure a little interesting thing there. I'm quite surprised both with the outcome and I know I shouldn't be, but the range of flavour and texture, etc., that was within those. I have to say, part of me feels slightly disappointed overall with most of them. You know, when you think of Jaffa cakes, there's so much that you can really say wow to, and you think, oh well, adding in some extra flavours here, giving it a zing of this or a zap of that, should lead to some real joys, which I guess it has done. But unfortunately, there's been a lot of misses when they could have really been hits. So let's start with the winner. Congratulations, Lidl, with your cherry version. Wow, that had a nice zing for it, that's for sure. Opposite end, McVities, also the cherry one, but wow, how we see the fall there, down to 46. Gee. McVities, really, you should up your game. That I had high hopes when you came into the stores with these wonderful flavours, tempting us with the bright packaging and all the associated expectation. Oh well. Still, my good people, I hope you've enjoyed this video. You know the normal YouTube rules. Like, subscribe, comment. You can do it all. And I'd like to see you going back in the next video. Hopefully you'll join me when we're going to possibly be looking at some hazelnut chocolate spreads. Do we recognise a big brand here? I think so. But of course, if you've not seen the orange version of this Jaffa cakes, hopefully there'll be a nice linky link just here for you to be able to click. And I'll see you in the next video. Well, you'll see me, I'm sure. Bye.